If you're looking to make a change to get improved performance, improve your sleep, and help you with your weight loss journey, try Optimum Day and Night. Make a change as soon as you can.
And these have been a real game changer in my health journey. Optimum Day helps your metabolism burn throughout the day, and Optimum Night helps you get a really good sleep throughout the night. So if you want to start your health journey today, click the link in the description below. Get 70% off your first order with the code WATTV. What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for yet another Tottenham update. A bit of a meaty one for you guys today. We're going to start off talking about Matheus Fernandes. There's been a couple of reports surrounding him today. And the first one is from Dario AS saying, Matheus Fernandes is understood to prefer a move to Tottenham over Real Madrid this summer. Fernandes believes he'll get more game time at Spurs in order to develop. And Ben Jacobs says that Tottenham and Man United would both like West Ham to lower their valuation for Matheus Fernandes. The Hammers will either get a bidding war or will have to drop their valuation with talks ongoing. So obviously, talk about the first one, about him preferring move to Spurs over Real Madrid. I guess
that deserves you pull, mate. That deserves you pull.
I guess Real Madrid are going to have to, have serious interest for him to do that, though.
Exactly. That's what exactly I was thinking. How much do they actually want him? Had they really been interested in him? They've got a lot of midfielders at the moment. I can't really see them going for Fernandes, especially not for 80 million. Do they really think he's the answer? But Mourinho coming in with the new revolution. Does he want to spend 80 million on Fernandes to head it? I doubt it. They just signed Bernardo Silva as well, so I don't really think Fernandes is a consideration. But it's all about us. I think it's all about Arsenal United at the moment, and it's interesting because you would think that relegated club West Ham, they'll probably should be willing or eager. They need the money because they've been relegated, so you would think they're probably open to selling. So that price, 80 million or 85 million, which no one has pulled the trigger on just yet, considering that he's quite well sought after. So you're thinking teams should be jumping at the chance to try and get him right now and beat the competition. And he should be quite gettable because he's at a relegated club. The fact that he hasn't moved yet or no one's quite advanced means I think is anyone willing to pay that 85 million or 80 million that West Ham are asking? Or is it going to drag on a bit until they lower the price? Because there's no chance they keep him. There's no chance that come the next season, he's a West Ham player in the Championship. He's going to leave. So I think maybe most clubs are looking at thinking, look, he will be gone by the end of the window. We don't want to pay 80 million. Maybe let's just see if we can ride out. The problem is, if they do lower the fee, are Man United then going to get ahead of us in the queue because they maybe at the moment are struggling with some sort of financial. Obviously, they've announced a new stadium. So there's a lot of finances tied up in that. So they've got a issue of cash flow potentially. They're saying on structuring of deals. So they want to lower the fee. But if that fee does get lowered, does that benefit them more than us? If the fees at this point, if we can maybe if it's more affordable to us, maybe we want the fee to be a bit higher and we can swoop in. But I don't know if we want to pay 80 million.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to play 80 million, to be honest. And I think that is fair because he's not an 80 million pound player. I think a deal will probably get done around the 70 million mark for Fernandes, and I think that's a great deal for West Ham as well. But in terms of does it work in Man United's favour, it depends on how all the different stipulations kind of work in our favour or their favour. There's been reports over the last couple of days how he likes life in London, how his wife doesn't want to leave London. And that could be a massive sway in terms of our direction. But then on the flip side of it, we've heard that Man United have been at the front of the queue since the very beginning. So it'll be interesting to see how
he's had his cards out on United.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it all develops. Maybe his wife could sway him round.
Happy wife, happy life, as they say.
Exactly, that's what they say. So just listen to your life. Listen to your wife, Matheus. That's all. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, I think with all things being equal, I think we might struggle still. I think we need to have some sort of advantage and some sort of ability to get ahead in this deal, and that might be the ability to pay a bit more money. And if the price drops and it all of a sudden becomes more affordable for Man United, I get the feeling that that's not good for us in a weird way, even though it's a price that we don't want to pay right now. Is anyway, we might have to pay a premium just to make sure that United don't get him. But
Yeah,
I don't know if we'll allow that to happen.
that's what stealing ahead of the march is. You got to pay a bit extra sometimes to get your man, and I'm all for it. Like I've mentioned on a number of occasions. Let's talk about Sandro Tonali. We all got worried with the reports yesterday surrounding Arsenal. A journalist called Orazio Ocamando says that Tottenham do remain frontrunners to sign Sandro Tonali after the player spoke to Roberto De Zerbi. However, Man City are still in the pictures. City view Tonali as a Tijani Reinders replacement rather than an alternative to Elliot Anderson. So no mention of Arsenal in this report. But yeah, I mean, just this Man City and Arsenal thing just don't go away. We just need to get this bid in and get it accepted so we can just hurry this deal up, man.
I can see the nerves come through the screen. I can feel them. Yeah, Reinders has been a surprising disappointment, hasn't he, in Man City? He started off so well. Yeah, everyone's thinking, okay, they've got their new midfielder. What great recruitment. And then by the end of the season, he was barely playing, and he actually wasn't playing so well. So I can understand probably the need to replace him. Maybe, do we go for Reinders? Maybe if Tonali doesn't work out, maybe that could be an alternative. But this deal was never going to be easy when you've got a player as good as him, a club who's obviously not a top six club, a club where in a position he wants to leave. We went through it before. Can you really name 10 midfielders in the league better than Tonali? And if we were struggling to. So when you've got a player like that sitting at a non-top six club, there's always going to be sharks circling. And we're obviously one of these sharks in this scenario, but there are bigger sharks in the water, unfortunately, than us. So it's whether we can beat them to the punch. It was never going to be easy. The fact that he has a good relationship with De Zerbi and they're both from Brescia and all that kind of stuff, that's great. But at the end of the day, let's see if it means anything. When push comes to shove, if City or Arsenal actually do put their money on the table and say, look, we're seriously interested, how much will that relationship with De Zerbi actually mean? I'm sure, as I've said, and like I said with Bruno, I've no doubt that we could convince Tonali or Bruno to come to us over Newcastle. But can we convince them to come to us over City or Arsenal? That's the big question. And it's tough. It's tough to envisage as a Tottenham fan that being a reality. They would come to us over them. It's all about how convincing De Zerbi can be. And I've got no doubt he's open to us, but whether he's more open to us than City or Arsenal. But let's just hope they're not as seriously interested in him. I think the reality is, right now, we are showing willingness to pay the money now, get him in, make him our number one target, make him feel wanted, make him feel like he's a massive part of this project. Whereas clearly Arsenal and City at the moment, at the time of speaking, don't seem 100% convinced whether they're going to, really go all out for him like we are. So if we could get the deal agreed now while they're dawdling, maybe we got a chance. But if they make the decision, we're convinced that we are going to move forward for it, it's going to be very difficult for us.
Yeah, there's a suggestion to say that these clubs just using Spurs as a marker. They're letting Spurs do negotiations, see what bid actually gets accepted, and then they'll make their decision on Sandro Tonali. But it's worth noting as well today, by the way, I don't know how much you read into it, but Fabrizio Romano, he removed the pinned tweet for Tonali last night and put in Alvarez, the massive noise that's going on around Alvarez of Atletico Madrid at the moment. And he's, as of 3-4 hours ago, he's repinned the Tonali tweet. So maybe something's going to be happening today. I don't know.
Who knows with his mysterious ways. But in terms of Tottenham doing all the legwork and one of the bigger clubs swooping in. That is Bojan with Eze. So we have been burnt by that before. And it is a tactic I think clubs do use. But that doesn't necessarily mean once we agree a fee, they're guaranteed to swoop in, because we might agree a fee like close to 100 million. And let's say we do agree a fee like that. Then they have to decide, are we actually going to pay that or not? That's what Arsenal paid for Rice, similar. Are they going to be willing to do that? Maybe it'll be too much for them. So, yeah, it's a worry for sure. But if it is an exorbitant fee, maybe it might be too much for these clubs to consider, but maybe not.
Yeah, and also I do think Newcastle will be much more inclined to sell to a Man City and an Arsenal over a Tottenham, with the gap in the clubs at this moment in time. So look, we'll see how it all progresses. Hopefully there is a bit of significance to Romano pinning the tweet today, and we'll get the here we go and we can sail off into the sunset. But I'm very anxious about this deal. Next up, we're going to talk about Savinho. All gone quiet, really, on that front. A publication out in Brazil called RTI Esporte say that Tottenham's negotiations with Man City over a deal for Savinho are still very much in the preliminary stages. City consider Savinho an important player for the future, but would be open to selling him for 50 million euros. And George Bannister has said that Savinho has been shelved for now.
Who knows? I mean, when was the last time George Bannister was a reliable ITK? I don't even know. But when it comes to Savinho, look, we have heard that we could be waiting till the 1st of July to get this deal over the line. So maybe maybe it was shelved and maybe it could be shelved till then. Maybe we are moving on to other targets. Maybe we're less convinced. Who knows what the reality is? I still think we're seriously interested. I still think that I think we want him plus another one. I don't think we've moved on to other targets because I think we want two. So I think Savinho would still be one. And if it is around 50 million, if that's true, they're willing to let him go for that price. I think that would be of interest to us, in my opinion. So, yeah, look, it's gone quiet. I don't know why. Who knows? But I still think it's gonna get done.
I don't know. It seems like such a easy deal to do. Man City willing to sell. Spurs really want him. Savinho really wants Spurs. And it just hasn't happened for one reason or other. And it seems to have gone really quiet. Fabrizio not really talking about it anymore. Don't know if David Ornstein's even said anything about the matter. But you look on the other side, Savinho on social media, he is non-stop messaging and replying to Spurs players on Instagram. And he's put that white heart as well, very cryptic message. So I don't know. There's reasons to believe it will and it won't happen. So we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Let's see. If the reality is, if it is true that they want to wait till the 1st of July, then this all makes sense. But we don't know if that's how true that is.
Yeah, exactly. And moving on, actually, before moving on, we're going to just move backwards just for a quick minute. Because there's just been another report on Matheus Fernandes from Mike Keegan of the Daily Mail talking on the United stand today. And he says Tottenham are already at the high end of what Man United would be happy to pay for Fernandes. There is a belief that he still wants to play for United, but it tends to be that the player goes to whoever's offering the most money. So that sounds positive.
Yeah, that sounds very positive. That's kind of what we were saying. There's an opportunity, This is what I was kind of saying before. If the price lowers, that probably suits United more than us in a weird way, because that's where they're struggling the most. So if we've got an opportunity to pay a bit more than them and get their bid rejected and get ours accepted, then it plays into our hands. And there's no point having all this money and having the financial advantages if you don't use it. If you don't overpay a bit to get your man, what's the point of having the financial advantages if you don't overpay, if you know what I mean? Obviously, exactly. Within reason, but that's the whole thing.
Exactly. Do the deal, Tottenham. Come on, it will be quite something if we can gazump Manchester United on this deal. As when last year we won the Europa League, we got into Champions League, and they were able to get players ahead of us. Imagine they're in Champions League and we're not in European football. We'll be able to get players over them. It would be quite something. But Yeah, let's move on and let's talk about this new name in the mix. And he goes by the name of Franco Mastuono of Real Madrid. And the reports are suggesting, Sport says that Tottenham are amongst the clubs interested in Franco Mastantuono. Argentine wonder kid is likely to leave Real Madrid this summer on loan, with Inter Milan, Sporting, Tottenham, Benfica, Stade Rennes and River Plate all inquiring about the midfielder's situation. I mean, it does suggest, I mean, the report did suggest that he's not in Jose Mourinho's plans for next season, but he wants him to go somewhere to play first team football, to develop, to come back. So, yeah, this is a non-start for me. There's no chance we're going to take him on loan just to develop him for Real Madrid to send him back. I mean, we're moving on from buying these 18-year-olds for our future, never mind for someone else's future.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think if we're going to go for someone like Savinho, we're also going to go for Mastroianni. Also, I don't know if we're the best place for him to develop right now, with maybe Kudus coming back, with more signings potentially on the wing coming in. Doesn't seem to me like that it's the best scenario for him, let alone us. When I was watching him play last year for Madrid, he seems like a talented kid, but it doesn't seem like a guy who's ready to come in and just, really provide what we need him to provide within one season if he's only going to be on loan as well. You might consider a loan deal if you think he's so special that you could do something special with him next season, but I don't think that's the case. So it doesn't seem like makes sense at all to me.
Yeah, and game time was few and far between last season. 11 starts in La Liga, only scoring 1 goal. I think for him, go to the Portuguese league, go to a Benfica, go to a Sporting, and I think you can really develop over there and play a lot of games. And next up, we're going to talk about Crescencio Somerville. So you talked about the validity of George Bannister. Well, it might come to light here because George Bannister says Spurs' interest in Somerville is genuine, but face a lot of competition with fee increasing during the World Cup separate to Fernandes. However, SZY has said that Somerville is not open to joining Tottenham Hotspur. So, yeah, we could probably put that one to bed, which annoys me a little bit because I know I said earlier on that I didn't want Somerville, but seeing him play at the World Cup, and I definitely enjoyed watching him play the back end of last season as well. I'm actually more open to a move for Somerville now, but apparently he's not open to us.
Crazy what a good World Cup can do for your perception. But yeah, I've always said he's a good player. He's a good player who's shown he can he's good in the Premier League. I think in a better team, you would see an even better Somerville. And you saw back end of last season how good he was. Look, I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think it's that bad. I think there are lots of options out there. Again, as I said, I don't think I would sign him and a Savinho. I think it's kind of one or the other, plus someone who's a bit more established when it comes to being really effective in the final third. I think we need an attacker like that as well. That would be really beneficial. And then obviously Somerville falls into the more creative, really dribbly, fast-paced, just really hard to handle kind of winger. But I think we're going to have that couple with Savinho. In terms of him not being interested, I don't know. I don't know how much I believe that. Like, he might not be interested right now, maybe if there's other offers on the table. But if the offers aren't, look, right now he's been linked to PSG and Madrid and United, all these clubs. So let's see how seriously interested. If his only serious option is Tottenham, I'm pretty sure he would be interested. Like I don't think it's a case of he's never going to join Tottenham. He'd rather stay at West Ham. Put it that way. So right now, I think I'd probably understand if he's looking at other options. I don't see why he would not consider Tottenham, but maybe there's maybe he's a West Ham. I don't know.
I think Manchester United are front of the queue for Somerville right now. I think all the reliable journalists, you have heard tenuous links to PSG. But I don't think that's realistic. I think Man United, is probably the most likely candidate.
Yeah, and if that's the case, it makes sense. But they've got Cunha at the moment. If Somerville comes back, does that rule out Rashford? Sorry, if Somerville comes in, does that rule out Rashford staying? You might think
it could do.
They do have Rashford at the moment. So
They want competition for places. They've got a lot of games next year in the Champions League and European football and everything like that. So I can understand the move for Somerville from Man United perspective.
yeah, just I guess it depends on their intentions on Rashford. Because I'm saying they've got Cunha already on the left. Obviously, I understand they need an extra one. Is that Rashford? Is that Somerville? We'll have to wait and see. But if they're not prepared to pay what they want for Fernandes, will they be prepared to pay what they want for Somerville? I wonder how much that is now. His price seems to be going up by the day at the moment with each game of the World Cup.
The last I heard, it was 50 million, around 50 million mark.
And at the end of the season, it was 45 million. So a few more good games, and it could be 60 million.
Could be, yeah, could be. But look, that's the story at the moment. At this moment in time, apparently Somerville not open to joining Tottenham. Let's talk about Cody Gakpo again, as Spurs Journal says that Liverpool want in excess of £65 million for Cody Gakpo. Tottenham are understood to be interested, but are wary of breaking their current transfer record for the Dutch forward. And other reports are suggesting, I think Fabrizio Romano saying Liverpool haven't made a decision if whether they want to keep or sell Cody Gakpo at this moment in time. But I mean, 65 million for Gakpo is a bit excessive for me. I'd prefer to go for Rashford for 40, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, even though Rashford probably demands a bit more in wage, quite a bit more in wages, let's say, I still think he's a better fit than Gakpo. I think, look, I don't mind Gakpo. I think he is a very frustrating player. That is the truth. He kind of does one thing. He does it quite well, but he's quite a predictable player. And he gets the ball, he cuts inside, he either shapes to get a shot off or goes like a little dink at the back post. A lot of the time it's a shot and a lot of the time it gets blocked. But there's no doubt about it. The guy does get goals and assists. The guy gets goal contributions. He's done it over the last 3 years. He's doing it at the World Cup right now. So the only thing about Gakpo is I just feel like he could be so much better if he played with his head up a bit more and he kind of plays very individually. That's his big problem. He's not the best team player. He kind of plays with his head down, try and get the shot off, try and do something for him rather than who's the best teammate, around in the best position, kind of link the play. He's not the best at doing that. That's why I think he gets people get a lot frustrated with him because sometimes a move can break down when it doesn't need to with him on the ball. And that could be very frustrating. But he is quite effective if you give him the ball enough times. More often than not, he will make something happen. He'll just waste another 5 opportunities other than that. So it's kind of give and take with Cody Gakpo. I wouldn't pay over. The only reason I would be interested in Gakpo is if we can get if Liverpool want to sell, we can get a good deal for him. I wouldn't pay 70 million for him. But if Liverpool open to selling him, they feel like they need to move on, and he's available for around 45, 50 million because they're looking to move him on, then I'd be pretty open to it because I think getting that kind of goal contributions for that price is pretty good. But paying 70 million, I don't know. Don't think so.
Look, regardless of the money, I think if you were to bring him and a Savinho in as the attacking options on the wing, I think that represents a really good step. And it's a massive upgrade on what we had last season. So I'll be massively in favour of it. I just think that that 65 million price tag is just a bit too excessive. But if Roberto De Zerbi wants to get it done, then I'm not going to be against it. I think I'm looking at it more of what kind of personnel we're bringing in. And we're bringing in someone that's tried and tested in the Premier League, probably playing in the prime of his career, in the prime ages of his career, and shown that he can get goal contributions in the Premier League. I think it's just a great tool for Spurs to have in the squad. So I'll be in favour of bringing in Cody Gakpo at Spurs, but if you gave me the choice between him and Rashford, I'm taking Rashford all day long, every single day of the week. Last but not least, we're going to talk about Nico Pats, as there's a report on Nico Pats from Team Talk, obviously not the most reliable, but they're saying that the return of Jose Mourinho to Real Madrid has significantly altered the landscape. While Mourinho is understood to admire Pats' talent, sources have informed Team Talk that the Portuguese coach does not view him as a natural fit for the system he's building at Real Madrid. As a result, club officials are now actively discussing whether to trigger his buyback clause and sell him immediately for 60 million euros. Among those paying particularly close attention is Tottenham, who are looking to make one statement attacking addition this summer. I mean, we're going back in for Nico Pats. I mean, if this report is true, you got to do everything in your power to bring someone like Nico Pats to the club if he is available. I do question the report, and obviously the validity of it might not be true, but the reality, look, he's not a position that we're desperately in need of, but I think the quality is undeniable with Nico Pats.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me when it comes to Jose not wanting a younger player in favour of, he's already signed Bernardo in favour of, he's got Bellingham there already. Does he trust those players more than a Nico Pats in the first team? That doesn't surprise me, the way we know what we know of Jose. But I would also like to think he might give him an opportunity, he might give him a season before instantly deciding, actually, I want rid of him. Considering that Madrid have been talking about him for so long, and they've been talking about getting him back, and now they're getting him back. All of a sudden, they're talking about selling him again. I think that's a bit ridiculous. But in terms of Tottenham, as much as, you say it's not a position we're doing desperately, but again, right now, at the time of recording, Maddison's just come back from an ACL. Javi has an ACL, and Kulusevski, we don't know what's going on. That's our 3 number 10s at the moment. Right now, who can we rely on?
He thinks of Conor Gallagher as a 10, in my opinion. Conor
Gallagher. Yeah, I know, but still, I don't really like. We used him as a 10. It's true, but I don't know if De Zerbi sees him long term in that position. Maybe he does, but I think we haven't used him there.
You might not like him as a 10. You might not like him as a 10, but the reality is, and his career suggests that he plays better in the 10 than anywhere else.
Yeah, true. But I don't think I don't know if De Zerbi long term will see him as a 10. That's all I'm saying. I don't think he's a particularly great 10. I think he has his uses. I think in some games where we need to really go after the opposition with a high press and force mistakes, I think him in a 10 will be really good, to be honest, because of his physicality. But all I'm saying is right now, as pure creators, we only really have Maddison, Javi, Kulusevski, and none of them. I don't know if we can really go into next season really relying on any of them to be playing lots of minutes. So getting in another one does make sense, but obviously depends on the fitness of those players we're talking about. But I think it's a difficult one. It's similar to last season. It's like last season we have Maddison and Kulusevski both with ACLs. Obviously, we needed 1 number 10. Some people said we need 2 number 10s. Then if you sign 2, all of a sudden at the end of the next season, you've got 4. So what do you do with that? So now we have 3, but kind of only 1. So we kind of need another one. But then at the end of next season, well, come February, March time, we could have 4. So it's a balancing act for the club. But I think definitely at the start of the season, or until January, we could be talking about lack of creativity if we don't sign another one.
Look, like I said, I'll bring him to the club regardless, because I think he's got the potential to be one of the best in the world, and I think in the Italian league he's already performing one of the best in that league. I think the job that Cesc Fabregas has done for his development has been nothing short of sensational. He's got world-class ability. It's just a case of where he does fit in. I guess he'll be sharing that role with Maddison for the rest of the season. And he probably, at some point, could surpass Maddison if he keeps going on the trajectory that he's on over the next year. So, I'd bring him in for sure. And you're talking about 60 million. And I think, automatically, if he has a good half a season in the Premier League, that price tag could massively go up. I think he's got the potential to be like 80, 90, 100 million pound player. That's how highly I rate this guy. So for sure, I'll do everything to bring in Nico Pats to the club. But let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. That is your Tottenham update for today. Hopefully we'll be on again today to give you those 3 beautiful words, but I'm not holding my breath. But thank you everyone for joining us. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.